This is very ironic because this is the session right before lunch, and so we're also going to be delving into food and how it sort of informs us, as well as the ecosystem which Arvind is helped propagate, and of course fashion, which is now as much as a necessity as food. So I'm going to start off like very basically and just get all of us to tick off one thing from our KRAs, which is to talk about AI and how it is sort of informing every conversation that we're having these days. So I'm curious, how are you guys leveraging AI in your messaging, in your insights, in how are you guys sort of leveraging it? So Nisha, if we could start with you, please.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Sorry to have the session right before lunch. We promise we'll try to keep it small and short. Of course, AI is something which is now omnipresent, right? It's not what we are doing with AI, just like how fast and how much better. We are an omni-channel brand. I represent Libas. So for us, the conversation is not only that how are we doing AI, but also how are we integrating AI through multiple touch points. And that is online, offline, and we are now present on quick commerce as well. So for us, the conversation has continuously been that how we are playing with AI and how quickly we are able to move to what AI has to offer across the multiple touch points, especially in the case of offline, right? Because online is still the case is relatively more glamorous, it's easier, there are much more innovations which have happened. But in terms of offline, how do we not have a journey which is fragmented for the customers and a brand voice which is not uniform from online to offline? So I think that is something, while we are also in a very nascent stage in the offline space, at least to explore, but it has been very, very interesting for us to also challenge ourselves and work with our partners to integrate that. Yeah.
So interestingly, I sell rice for a living. So, while I would love AI to evolve far ahead so that we can get people to taste and smell and, experience it much better. But at least we've reached a point where people can probably see themselves cooking and see themselves cooking with people they want to cook with. Right. That's what we did last year. That met with fairly good success. We got a celebrity chef, Sanjeev Kapoor, on board with us. So we gave people an experience to come and cook with him over our Dawat World Biryani Day event. And that was a roaring success because we saw the love for food actually translated into a love not just for food, but also personalization, which people carry through. And today, as we extend it, we've seen more and more content being made out of AI, more and more personalization coming across, and personalization not just in the form of recipes, but personalization the way you want it to turn out. You want more garnish, you want less garnish, you want, you want it in your own language to be told, taught, and spoken to, and build it. Today, I think that ecosystem provides for those capabilities, and seamlessly so. That's what is important. So if people have opted in to be part of our ecosystem, they certainly can actually create for themselves. And we're trying to push that envelope as much as we can to kind of accommodate for various versions so that people can also share it for them. And I think that's where it's turning up to.
Yeah, thanks. So at Amazon, AI has been working across in multi-dimensional level. So remain being focused on the ad space. We leverage to build the cohort of customer insights, and also the brands reach out for a lot of different use cases, the objectives they want to reach out to. We're giving a simple example. A brand might want to reach out to a mother who is focused on healthy products. So how to customize and make sure that we build a very relevant cohort in a very real-time basis. That decision-making selection while creating a campaign goes very, very fast. And that's how AI is utilizing the data and giving that decisive decisions to advertisers to use it. And a very simplified use, I think most of you might have done it while buying any product on Amazon, how to make a quick decision. So Amazon has launched AI assistant, how you can move faster and make decisions on buying it. So that for a defined category, wherever you might not be aware about, might be you're buying a toy for a niece and which you have not bought in your life. So how to find out the relevant in that age group, in that age, and in that gender. That helps, and it's evolving. It's like it's starting at early stage, but a lot to achieve on this area.
Okay. So going last on this, but from AI, from a DS Group perspective and from Cat Spices, obviously we're using AI on a lot of trying to get and generate the insights which is coming from the consumers and try and maybe, how do you call, maybe correct our communication patterns, correct our product portfolios. We have used AI largely a lot on some of our communication which is going on, and something which we did a couple of years back was around the monsoons, where what we did with AI was we generated first, we targeted 6 different markets. We got AI generated communication because the product and what is the food item which would be catering to those markets. Then we linked it with a weather AI app and got the intensity of the campaign driven by how much monsoon was happening in that particular market, and that will then spend the money accordingly. So as the intensity of the rain goes up, the campaign would run, and as well as it will go. So that's something which is something which we have tried in terms of communication, but otherwise a lot of insights which then get into the briefs for the product formulation teams, and then obviously the steps go from there.
Right. So now let me switch it up, and I should start with you, Arnab. And I'm curious, and this is actually open to the whole panel, but we'll start with Arnab, that, everyone is now leveraging technology for their targeting, and it's getting hyper-personalized. To sometimes, it almost seems a bit creepy. So, how do you tread that fine line with it being, very personalized and, very pertinent to you, but not being like, stepping the line?
So first of all, as a spices company, where the core is on hyper-personalization only, if you see, for our brand. Because what we've been trying to enable the mother to hyper-personalize food for every person in the family. And therefore, that's where our core says our things like our cat sprinklers, which even hyper-personalizes once the same food can be attuned to different person's taste. So as a product, definitely we've been doing this forever. But when it comes to communication, obviously there are limitations for us as an FMCG company, and while there are some other categories where maybe hyper-personalization at a product level is much more easier. Maybe for Nisha, someday she can look at some particular color, and depending on what the insight comes there. For us, obviously there are certain limitations. But we still try and we'll try and create the intensity of the word hyper in hyper-personalization is slightly different for us compared to maybe somebody like maybe an automobile or that. But still, like we have 4 different variants of garam masala, for say. And that's for each and every market, while garam masala is a generic product. But those are all driven through these insights. And then the communication gets attuned to them. Maybe the kind of touch points with the consumers in a particular market. We look at increasing relevance for our products for different markets, and those are then driven through AI.
Yeah, so on Amazon on-package ads, what we have done differently is we initially thought through that the customer spends a very high amount of time while waiting for a product to get delivered, and the engagement level is quite high. They spend approximately like 1 to 7 minutes on an average unboxing experience. Now, how to capitalize that time, and that's the intent is very high. The customers spend a good amount of time while unboxing, might be a major event or a gift or an everyday use case. Now, in order to hyper-personalize it and at a scale, we worked upon building the ads at time of unboxing. So they capitalize the entire real estate where we can do a very high messaging so that it becomes very important for brand to connect. Now, to make it hyper-personalized, the first thing we try to solve is we didn't want to disturb the supply chain. But we also wanted to work backwards to advertiser. So we focused upon what kind of an objective they want to achieve and the relevant audience. we build certain models where we can do a location-based, or might be a category-based, or a use case-based, or a demographic-based kind of a model. The second thing we also worked upon in terms of hyper-personalization is how to make the entire package look good, intuitive messaging for the customers to remain engaged. I'll give you an example of, we did a campaign with Godrej Properties. They wanted to do a campaign at the same moment of time in Pune and Kolkata, and the audience was different. The real estate quite different. The audience was different, but they given this objective to us. We created a personalized packages for Pune and Kolkata differently. One with the blue curve, because they want to represent the legacy and the prestige of Godrej Properties. In Pune, they wanted to make more sustainable and environment, so we presented with a green background. Now, the entire property was more towards the people who have a power to buy. So we created that cohort to make sure that it reaches to the relevant people who are buying the relevant products which are more relatable to the Godrej Properties. In order to personalize, we created a QR code, made it a very engaging. So the intent of customers doing the scan and landing on a WhatsApp communication directly with Godrej Properties via Amazon ecosystem. That engagement was a very fantastic way of engaging, communicating, and connecting with the relevant audience. This positioning helped the brand in a very impactful growth in terms of the sales. So understanding that and creating a product which impacts the advertiser at a real-time basis and at a scale, it's an important impact. And if you do not spend on hyper-personalization in future, I think the question would be more on to us only, that is ROI a good, coming out to be a good point or not? And that's how we, through an on-package ads, we're trying to solve that.
So in fact, I guess it's been an all-time high dream for marketers to hyper-personalize. No? Right. We would love to understand every individual consumer of ours rather than classify them as cohorts. While segmentation gets taught, I think the ultimate objective is to identify the individual. Right. Hyper-personalization, by the very nature of it, and in positive sense, is to kind of reach out to that individual and do it. So, but like Arnab, I am food as a business. So there are umpteen ways in which people try and do it. So if you ask me, there are over 300 varieties of biryanis available in the country, or 200 types of pulaus available, to name a few. And then, of course, the list goes on. If you were to have dal chawal, I'm sure there are zillion variants of it, depending on populace. So that's one level. We provide for recipes. While I sell rice, how do I enable people to sell rice? I don't tell them this is a product parameter and that's why you should buy me. I rather tell you what difference do I make to your life. And if I can make the difference count for individual preferences, I have done my job. So it starts from recipes at one end of it. It moves on to communication, which is customized for you. We ran a campaign wherein our celebrity would actually call out the name of the individual who chose to participate in that campaign. So if someone saw that campaign and just gave us her name and the language she wanted to be communicated to on WhatsApp, we could actually create a piece of communication, a specific ad for her and provide for that. And then she would feature in it, being called out in name, and that's the level of personalization which suddenly drove people to kind of share. So the quantum of shareability which we got, I won't say virality because it's too often used a term where it's a combination of push. Here it's a function of voluntarily wanting to put it across because you were part of the creative. You were part of the narrative which the brand had. And I think that's what we hit as a very relevant chord. We struck a very relevant chord with the consumers at the end of the day. Yeah. And certainly we will probably come to a space where we will have to respect to what limits we will push this and how much of comfort we are giving. So if we overstep it and we see consumers getting back to us saying, hey, stop here, I'm sure we will respect that line and we will stay within. So it has to be that in India, we've still not reached it. I think even consumers are experimenting with this ecosystem. So are we. But yes, conversations outside India on what is privacy and what sort of, what are those gray lines which should not get breached. I think that's important, but not a conversation for the immediate, but yes, a guideline for the future. That's how I see this ecosystem. Yeah.
So interesting though that we are talking about AI and then hyper-personalization together, building that emotional resonance with AI. So I find that very interesting. But I think as he just rightly pointed out that how important it is to personalize stuff. We cannot, of course, be at the back end, right? Like for us also at Libas, we make sure that through our CDP platform, we are giving the customer a very personalized journey on the website. At the same time, not being creepy, you know. So of course, if we know that, okay, you shop in a certain category at a certain price point, so how do I marry that with also occasion, which transcends region, which transcends culture and also like age. So if I know, okay, like a Mother's Day is coming, then how do I customize my website? Well, like I said, like, and I always believe this as a marketer, that our job is fairly easy when it comes to online. I can, of course, do the multiple help of the tools which are available for any brand and marketer's disposal right now. You can create that journey, but now how do you do that offline? So say if I'm doing that customized journey for my customer for Mother's Day, where they are coming and that age group are able to see a Mother's Day sale where they're getting a certain discount. Now, how do I take it offline, right? We are currently at some 28 stores. We plan to be at some 50 stores by the end of this year. So for me, like, and a pan-India, right? So then we will also do an event offline where we will invite mothers and daughters to come together and do like an activity, which we will also talk about on our social. Then we also engage with our customers through tools and AI on social. Okay, what kind of reactions are we getting on, say, like a contest if we are doing, a giveaway we are doing? Are the emojis more sad or are they angry? Also using AI to sense the sentiment of the consumer as well. What kind of responses are they giving and how do we react to that? So these are the multiple touch points. Of course, we try to use personalization and also the kind of categories we are operating in. Like if we know that, okay, this is summer right now, this vacation time right now. So like what kind of categories work for us better and how do we communicate that on WhatsApp and how do we communicate that through emails without being another run-of-the-mill brand and who's just telling you, okay, shop this, but how do we create that experience is something we constantly work on. Yeah.
Right. And you know, we were having this discussion before this panel about how, as of now, you can't taste food through an app yet. I'm sure that'll happen in 5 or 10 years. But you know, Nisha and Arvind, because you worked in a very visual sort of mediums, right? So I imagine you are also exploring AR and VR interfaces and sort of figuring out how you can leverage those technologies. So Nisha, if you could start, and then I should come to you.
I want to give an honest answer on this, but I don't know if I should.
Oh, please, please.
I was just talking to my team also earlier in the morning about this, that like I find this very interesting right now. Like I think this in offline has not really worked out very well in India. Like we also have experimented with it and I've seen multiple brands trying it. Should I name brands? Maybe I shouldn't name brands. So like I've gone to their stores and I've seen that, you know, like those self-checkout services or, you know, checking out like a perfume by just putting certain notes and there will be a scent coming in. And like I see, like it's very fancy and you go to Europe and like you see all of these things happening offline. You come back and you try to implement it, but you'll always see that the customer is still struggling to figure it out. Or there is a customer rep already standing there. So neither are you able to implement the tech really properly or you are not able to train the resource properly as well. And the customer is also not really informed through multiple multiple platforms you operate on as a brand, are you really telling customer that, hey, this is what we have? What is the point of having a service which you're not taking the time to educate the customer on? So I think it's very also important to know that which country are you operating in, what is the demographic, right? What is their understanding of what you're trying to, what are you trying to intimidate them with saying a self-checkout portal? Are you actually trying to make your life easier? Even with fast tags, you guys see, like, it's supposed to just automatically happen, but does it? No, like, you literally have to have that human conversation. So this is where I feel we are. I mean, is it interesting? Definitely. Is it good for some Instagram reel to post about it? Yes. But the execution of it and scalability of it, I think we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now, AR, VR both are, one is at an early stage, second, it is expensive medium to capitalize upon. But in some of the aspects, we, through on-package ads, we have been able to build a more of a customer experience through VR videos, and we have done at a worldwide level where I'll give you an example. For one of the brands, they wanted to engage and celebrate the Christmas. So how through just scan you can see yourself with the Santa Claus giving gift to somebody else and creating a short video or a short jiffy altogether. So through VR technologies, what is really happening is the brands are moving towards building more experiences, a visual story. You've seen recently, there are apps which might be on WhatsApp or Snapchat. They are also moving. If you just click your photo, they will translate you to a different kind of a person in an animated way, and creating small videos around it. So people are using and brands are consuming more from engagement and translating into an experiences and telling us short stories. But it's a long way to go. But the second aspect which we are also focusing is how people can visualize through just scan, is this product covering all the possible ingredients which I want to use? Is it covering all the nutrients? So they can able to see on a VR, on an app itself only, the moment they scan it, and they will come to know all about the product. So that capability also exists, and it's become more relevant nowadays because people are focusing more on health, and they want to know more is there inside the product which they are buying it. So yeah, it's upcoming, but it's still at a very early stage to adopt.
And again, until that app is made, Arnab and Ganpati, could you tell me how you're sort of also leveraging technology, but also giving it a human face, because it is a very basic need to eat. And so I'm curious, how you're sort of bringing the two together, the technological aspect as well as the human aspect.
So as I said, very basic stuff. If I were to ask people in this room, how many of you know how to cook 300 different types of biryanis? I'm sure there's none who's lifting their hands. I don't know. Let's be honest about it. But that's what technology does. If you want to cook your own version of it, and you want to cook a new biryani every day for the rest of this year, you can do that. And I can give you that because I have technology at the back end to give you that interface. But can I substitute you? I have no love to substitute you. Okay? What I do is give you a canvas for you to bring alive your own colors. But for that, I use technology to enable that conversation with you. I facilitate you with the availability. Tomorrow, like for example, there's a host of conversations on global recipes which have made inroads into our houses. Thai cuisine being one of them. We launched a couple of months back, jasmine Thai rice, a Thai Omali version of it. And we realized a lot of people writing back to us saying, how can we make this? What do we do with this? So we came up with a whole series of stuff and we launched. And what we did interestingly was, when you buy the pack, instead of you going online to try and figure out, we put a QR code there, as simple as that. It's probably the most intuitive thing to say. So we put out there, and if you choose to buy in those recipes to cook from the product you buy, all you needed to do was scan and find it. So we did that fairly successfully with black and red rice. Again, varieties of rice which are lesser known, but probably have novelty value. So people want to reach out and experience, but they don't know how to go about it. A decade back, probably we did it with the brown rice. Because again, it was a challenge. India was just emerging. For us, by and large, it was white rice. And now today we've come into an evolution where we are accepting of a lot of that. And the only way we can bridge this information gap and get people to be curious about what 66% of India would have in the next half an hour for lunch to become more interesting.
Right.
We do use technology to do this.
Yeah,
Yes.
I realize this was perhaps not the smartest question to answer before lunch.
So I hope we end in time for that. Sorry.
Very similar thoughts like what Ganpati had here. So in our case also things like simple QR codes. So like I was saying that we've launched this gravies range, which is more targeted again to people who have less time. So it's a simple QR code, then at the back, which would the same gravy can have 6 different recipes which can be made, and depending on the time which the consumer has. So 2 10-minute recipes, 2 20-minute recipes, 2 30-minute recipes is just a way to engage and give them a little more clarity on what they can do. Put them on a video format, so that makes that easier for them, obviously for them to interact with the product, and that then leads to obviously more consumer trials and as well as adoption.
And before everyone makes a rush for the exits for lunch, let me ask like one open question to everyone. What is the future of customer experience? We've spoken about technology, the human touch, leveraging different emerging technologies. So for you guys, like in your respective fields, what is the future of customer experience? Yeah.
So I think predictive customization, predictive personalization, and like a mix of, AI with it, I think that is the future. Really understanding your customers through all the insights which you get across all touch points, and I think marrying it together, I think is very, very important. I think fragmented journey, I think, is what kills our customers' experience of the brand. So I think a uniform voice, and I think because we all are trying to, it's not that we were born with understanding what AI is, it is artificially intelligent. And I find that word very interesting, right? So we all are very new, we all are trying to understand it. So I think brands who would make that sound like how to maybe teach like a 5-year-old. I think if you do not intimidate your customers and just make them part of it, where you make their life easier, but also you take the opportunity of, really educating them through the examples I just stated in the previous conversation. I think that is the future. I think we are not to go anywhere as resources right now. Like if you speak with, I'm saying this as a marketer, like I have multiple agencies coming to me where they'll be like, okay, we are all AI, so you do this through AI. Okay, yeah, we do this through AI. Okay, we are hyper growth, we are this and that. And when it comes to the execution of the project, we are taking time and the structure is such. And I was like, where did all the AI go? Which I was just being pitched, right? So it's here to stay. We are here to stay. I think it's not really about speed here. I think the idea is to do it well. And I think we all are here for the long game. They're all legacy brands here, and I think the idea is to just do it properly, understand it nicely, and I think it'll all make sense eventually.
So honestly, customer experience is not about the fact that you've got a person to be in an ecosystem, buy your product, and probably just repeat your product. I think it can extend far and wide. As technology evolves, I would love my consumers to come and be part of the journey. People who identify with those values, if they become part of the journey of brand building, it's not about writing one-off feedback to say, probably can you make this more spicier? Can I have a better product linkage to what recipe I want to make? Probably, I would love this to happen. This should not be one-off. We today are in a position where we can have this continuous improvement as a journey shared with the consumers we want to reach out to. And I think that is going to be seamless. So we will come up with products which are preemptive, and they will emerge from the very basic things which all marketers aspire, which is to understand what the consumer wants for tomorrow, and we build products today for them. So I think we will be able to do that if, we had better customer experience here. It's all yours.
Yeah. So in Amazon on-package ads ecosystem, basically what we have seen transformation happening or will happen in future also is towards technology will play a very advanced role in assisting the advertisers to go and create their own campaigns in much more faster pace, but also making sure that we do not miss that emotional connect. And that's where we had focused upon that the personal journey or the unboxing experience, we should not miss it. And that's where we are building an ecosystem or infrastructure to make sure that the customization on packages happen at a very real-time basis. The artwork creations happen at a very faster pace. Along with that, we are able to engage at a right moment. I'll give you a very short example. We did a campaign with Alexa, and the campaign was just before the summer holiday starts for the schools. And the children spend too much time on screen. The campaign was off screen. They wanted to educate to the parents, let your children not be on screen for those 45 to 60 days. That campaign went so well, and the parents related to that campaign. It's not about buying a product, it's about right timing also. So how we can capitalize at the right timing, that is something we should definitely focus upon. So we are leveraging technology, but we are focusing on emotional connect and customers. And parallelly, we are also building a lot of supply chain capabilities to make sure that it is engaging. We do in on-package ads, DIY, gamification. For Society Tea, we did a very immersive experience where the customers got a very fancy box with a tea garden and with the tea coasters inside. So people can enjoy, make it memorable, keep it, or use it, or not use it. It's at the end, their call. But that experience went so well because they were moving from an offline to an online. So how we can leverage it at a right timing, but move it at a scale is very important. Otherwise, rightly pointed out that if we do not have that infrastructure, the advertisers will not be able to leverage at a scale. And the more we are able to do it, it is best value proposition for them.
And before we present ourselves at lunch, could you just take us home, Arnab, and give us your thoughts on the future?
The future, obviously, with the consumer experience, with the online space also increasing, what it also provides us is to reach out to places where we've not been able to reach out once. The other bit also is we can have a lot of regional relevance of our brand can go up. And that is something which we are utilizing. We were just talking just prior to this on this festive calendar. Each of those festives we are trying to map and then try and make the product, because we have a wide portfolio of different spices, we can actually attune one product and create that consumer experience at that relevant point. And that obviously increases the relevance of the brand. So from a national brand, we can now take on the regional brands. And that is something which is a brilliant opportunity for all of us. That is where I'll end and not let everybody stay away from lunch.
Thank you so much, everyone. And again, thank you so much for indulging us. And now let's move towards an indulgent lunch. So thank you, everyone. And thank you for the audience.